There's the trademark breathing. There's the everybody trying to figure out what we're doing mode. This is how we always start the Great Northern Sex Cast. Colleen Bertino.
Good morning, everyone.
Megan Vaughn, hey.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm well. Kelly Guest is fine. I made it. The first, noticeable snowfall of the year has hit us here in the Great North.
Yeah, we were driving up and I saw a smashed vehicle that looked a little bit like yours. And I'm like, and then you weren't here when we got here, which never happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. And then I showed up a couple minutes later.
Well, I'll thank you for your concern. And in an effort to avoid just what you're talking about, I have turned into, because I had one 37-day period at the end of 2011 and January of 2012 where I got rear-ended twice in weather-related accidents when I was at stoplights. Okay. Oh. So every year I get increasingly more, what's the word I want? Paranoid, crotchety, old lady anxious, about this whole thing. So yesterday, man, I have all my weather radar stuff pinned on my computer. So I'm checking all my points in the route. I know how to look at the hourlies. What's the temperature? What's the road going to be like? Okay, if I drive through here at this time, oh God, it's ridiculous. And I stayed at my sister's, so I'm all good.
No, I have my weather apps too.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
It's beautiful.
I know lots of different folks that were looking at the weather yesterday because, we sort of rearranged our schedule this week at the office because I didn't want folks out and about. I mean, the Twin Cities area ended up being too warm for too much snow.
Yeah.
But you didn't know that until it happened.
And what's funny is you guys know that I put on my personal Facebook page some pictures of our outdoor Christmas lit tree. And it was pretty neat because with the flash, the snow created kind of a cool effect on there. And all my friends, because I grew up in California, all my friends are like, oh my God, how do you do it? Whatever. I don't even have a coat on today. It's 32. I'm like, God, it's nice.
I know. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, there are no gloves. The coat is unzipped.
I didn't even bring mine out of the car.
The teenagers are in hoodies.
Yeah.
And most of them are still wearing shorts because they're teenage boys and they're idiots.
Yeah. And this afternoon, I'm going on a fabulous hike with the lesbians up at the lake, our friends on the other side of the lake. And we're going to go through a park. And, whatever. I mean, people that don't live in this just have no idea what gradual acclimation means.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, and it is, when you're not driving in it, it's pretty damn beautiful.
It's pretty fabulous. So guys, just real quick, let's give a quick nod to something. World AIDS Day, 27th annual World AIDS Day. Have you guys caught any of the news stories this morning that they're covering regarding this?
We have, I have to admit, there's 9 pallets of merchandise in our garage, and I've got a screwed up elbow. We've got an employee who's dealing with a personal health thing. So I know that there's a world out there, and I know that it does not revolve around work right now, but that's pretty much where my brain is.
Yeah.
All I know is that's what they did the Wankathon for, I believe, that we talked about
They
a
did.
few back.
Well, there's something that was creating a bit of controversy this morning, and we'll get into our news segment and everything else. But this really, as I was walking out the door, I stopped and listened to this. There's a drug out, and I'm sorry, it's a I couldn't remember it even if I could pronounce it if I saw it in front of me. No. But there's a drug out that they are now saying can actually prevent you from getting AIDS. Now, almost like, and have you heard about this? An immunization for it. And of course, there are people out there saying, oh, well, ethically, we don't want to put this out there because then it just promotes irresponsible behavior. Really? Really? Jesus. It's like these countries. No. Oh, go, Colleen, go. I knew this was going to push your button.
No, it's frustrating. I mean, if you have a tool for good, you cannot, just because some people might be assholes, you cannot, give it to other people. It's totally and utterly irresponsible, and those folks absolutely do not live in any sort of real world.
Yeah. And that's going to be kind of a theme. Imposing our will and thoughts and morality on others is going to be pretty big here later on in the show. But I think about one of the things I'll never forget, one of the most horrific things I think I covered when I was an actual news writer, reporter person, was some of the stories in Africa regarding the widespread of AIDS there and why and how culturally embedded it is, the way that they treat women. They rape them and they tear them and they get AIDS, and there's absolutely no protection. And do you remember the large Christian-led resistance to providing condoms? for that very, we don't promote birth control. It's like, are you kidding me? These poor women have no other,
they're being brutalized, and it's just too frustrating.
Well,
and
condoms wouldn't help that, though.
Well,
it doesn't help the rape and the brutalization, but it does help the transmission of the disease and keeps them from transmitting it later.
Depending on how. So my roommate is from Africa, South Africa specifically, and she was telling me a story about that they were trying to spread awareness of AIDS and promote condom use. So they had these little pamphlets with all this information about AIDS and how to prevent it and what it means and all that, and a condom that they stapled to the pamphlet.
Oh dear. And I'm guessing how
the
they
condom.
Oh, sure. Admin, some things are above certain people's pay grade, and that would have been one of those jobs.
Yep.
I'm just thinking. Well, anyway, we appreciate the fact that today, and we talked about Charlie Sheen on our last live show.
Yeah, we didn't, it is frustrating because it's become, and that he went on the air and said that he told everyone. And then, of course, everyone comes crawling out of the woodwork saying he didn't tell everyone. And you have no way of knowing one way or another. And it's just, it's frustrating that way. The fact that there's still a stigma, but it's not a, I'll get this mic right one of these days. And it's still a stigma, but it's not really a death sentence anymore. And it occupies a very different gray area than it did when I was a teenager. And it was this, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And, and it's frustrating because they don't think about it. Yeah. A lot of folks that are younger don't think about the fact that this is still a very serious infection, a very serious virus.
Well, and Charlie Sheen is fine because he has the money and resources. But some of the prostitutes that he was with might not. And one thing about the story I wanted to, as a PSA, is Brie Olson, one of his goddesses, who has come out and said that she was not aware, had said that he will use protection with women, but he uses lambskin condoms.
And those are porous, right?
Yes, they do not protect against STDs. So I've heard people, why didn't these women, put on a condom? They see he has a condom on, not realizing that it's not actually going to protect them against STDs. So, PSA fun fact, lambskin condoms are not protection
from STDs.
STDs.
And Charlie Sheen, I'm going to just set him aside. And I'm very sorry that he's going through this and he has this affliction, et cetera, et cetera. But he's a freaking douchebag, in my opinion. Just all around, hands down, total douchebag. But that aside, with regard to celebrities, with the many that I was lucky enough to get to interview during my radio days, particularly music stars or whatever, what people don't get is how isolated they really can be, and how hard it is for when something gets out there in the media for them to deal with control. Even though they have staff, it's so far out of their control, and to get the real truth out there about any possible thing that ever happened. And the public doesn't want to know. They don't want to know. Meg, go Meg.
Oh no, I was
her
just
eyeballs were
say,
bigger than saucers.
That's kind of a perfect segue to one of the stories we had brought up about James Dean, who is I would say he's a pretty well-known male star, even on mainstream. The big thing, he was in the backdoor teen mom home video that came out, that Farrah Abrams lady. So a lot of people know him. He was actually accused of rape by another porn star via Twitter, because apparently that's how everyone airs their deep personal grievances now on Twitter. And it's that same thing where it's so hard because you don't know. Like, yes, porn stars can be raped. There is no question about that.
Anybody can be.
And you do not want, it's hard because you do not want to blame the victim. But also, this individual is now getting tried in the court of public opinion. And there aren't any, you can't control the facts. Like, I'm imagining him waking up today and like the spiral that this has turned into, to the point of Some major movie companies, Evil Angel, are not going to put out any more movies where he has scenes. One of the major kink sites that he's worked with has dropped him, is not going to work with him anymore. And one of the biggest things, Doc Johnson, which has been an adult toy manufacturer for 30 plus years. And we actually, from them, carry the James Dean cock. And they're going to stop production. They're not going to make these anymore. So it's very tricky, because you hope if this is true, that justice will be served. But years after the fact, there's not a good way for proof. And it's also kind of dangerous to see.
Yeah, I mean, the stories are being backed up by other women, industry and not industry and stuff like that. This is, very much like Bill Cosby. And you tend to sort of, there is that court of public, opinion, but we really don't know. And I'm not giving credence to one side or the other here. It's just sort of the, stepping aside from it, but it just plastered all over. But it does affect me, because we've carried his movies and his products since now I've got it. We just found out about this morning. So now I've got to go and I got to figure out, what to do. So it does affect me.
Yeah, it does.
Because I can't sell something from someone, I'm like, wow, because everyone looks at it now is going to go, is this the possible rapist penis? That's not sexy. We've got the movies and they cut them out. It does, a public persona does touch a few more lives than the other folks are going on there. So like I said, I'm going to have to, like I said, we just found out about this late last night, early this morning, and we're going to have to look at it.
Yeah. And, that is a really odd quandary for someone in your position. But that said, here's me. I have two things, my two top ways of living my life. Number one, it's the golden rule. That trumps everything. I hate using that word as a verb now based on what, anyway, I digress. The other thing is, I'm an innocent until proven guilty gal, all the way. But then again, you have a situation and jobs and everything else
and everything
depend on it.
So I've got to really look at it, because I've always been, just because you're a sex worker doesn't make you above or below the law.
No.
And, and I've never, and if that's, in this particular lifestyle, to some extent, selling a sex toy is a large encompassing concept of sex workers and things in the sexual industry and stuff like that. And so you have to decide, what I'm going to do. And to some extent, you end up erring on the side of the, it just looks bad. The perception is horrid.
Yeah.
It's not like whoa, here it is. And it was, and honestly, it was a good seller.
It was very good. It was a very popular penis.
But now, but the thing is, the folks who buy that are going to know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So it just, they're in the stores like, well, that's just bad.
And I'm sure that's Evil Angel, Doc Johnson. That's their thing as well. Err on the side of caution, because anything that makes the industry has enough stigma, I think, without a story like this throwing an even harder light, a worse light on it.
Yeah, immediately what pops to my mind here is if there's a section of the movies or whatever, I almost wonder if a shelf card disclaimer, should you decide that you're going to weight the innocent proven guilty, to our, customers, blah, 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 blah. And we leave it to you to, I don't know if you could do something like that, or if that's just adding too much complication to what's already hard merchandising.
It becomes frustrating, because I have found for a long time that, and it happens in most of the world, that if you're not 100, sometimes being all-inclusive makes other people feel excluded, because you're not focusing completely on them. And it's been been very frustrating that way, because I've had people say, "Hey, you're the gay store, or you're the store for women, or you're the store for men." I'm like, well, obviously the marketing's sort of working, because everybody thinks they're for someone else, and so it just, like I said, it's a big question. And, like I said, obviously, was it NBC had to deal with this with Bill Cosby, and the show that was rerunning all this sort of stuff. They had to yank everything.
Yeah.
And there hasn't even been a court case for this going through there. But after a while, when you get enough out there, hopefully humans will figure out how to use the fact that you can share information, and not just this. Should you? I mean, that we'll evolve to. I don't know. Just figure out how to use information better.
You mean read and research and form opinions based on something other than a headline?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, gosh, Megan.
That's crazy talk.
Well, I saw something.
I know what trumps that.
The trucker hat has to go, by the way. It is nothing is more absurd than a trucker hat mounted on top of that ridiculous hair.
Unless, I was going to say.
On Trump's head.
Yes. Whoa, we should send him our white trash bachelorette trucker hat.
Perfect.
I was going to say trucker hats are cool if they say white trash bachelorette and have little penises, right?
Yeah.
Just send it to him.
Well, he's a dickhead, so that
exactly.
That would absolutely.
Did we have? Is that the one that has the? Because I was in the warehouse and I looked up and I just saw hats and I'm like,
it's the only trucker hat we carry.
Why do we have like 3 huge boxes that say hats? And did I miss something? Like, that's the white trash trucker hat. And then I just went on with it. I said, okay. And I just kept going.
How many times a day do you go, that's the blah, 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 and just keep going at your warehouse?
Every 10 freaking seconds. We've been, like I said, we've been doing, there's been a lot of stuff coming in and I don't see everything that comes in the store anymore. And it's just fascinating because I'm realizing that the folks who name nail polish and the folks who name sex toys, obviously just no one is sober when this shit happens.
Especially OPI. They have the best nail polish names in captivity.
And the names of the products are just, I don't know. I was just giggling. I was doing a whole bunch of masturbators yesterday, and there was just everything was just like I'm yelling out a name.
Colleen, you just said I'm doing a bunch of masturbators.
Yeah. I was pricing them.
Okay,
and so we just got boxes and boxes of them, and they all have these names that are really close, like hot ass pussy and this and I'm like, and I'm yelling this across the room because I'm too lazy to walk over and look at the sheet myself. And then one time I'm reading something off the bottom, and Tara, without even looking up, goes, "Oh, that's not the name," and so I have to yell out something else obnoxious across the warehouse. And AJ's like, "Yeah, that's the right one." And I'm like going through there.
It is pretty great to imagine, like, hey, how many hot ass pussies you got over there? All day long.
And it just gets it was stacks and stacks of them. I was just surrounded. And I'm like, well, is that the pink one or the beige one? And I'm like, beige, okay.
That's fantastic. Well, speaking of that, let's talk a little bit. I'm just kind of curious what the fantasy gifts take was over the Thanksgiving weekend. And I know that people don't want to go buy dildos when Aunt Jane is in town, but did you guys have a good weekend? I would think you would have.
It did okay. I mean, actually Wednesday and Friday were better than Saturday sales wise.
Okay.
We had a last minute buy so much, get a free little rocket style vibe at the stores, and most of those were gone, and it did what it was supposed to do, get people to spend a couple extra bucks.
Good.
But I admit, it was my mom's birthday this past weekend too. Oh. So there was besides the Thanksgiving eating, there was like 2 birthday dinners. Oh. I think I might eat next Tuesday. I'm so full right now.
You'll check your calendar and let us know.
I was going through there, but I think it was steady. The weather was good. Folks, I mean, if you make it into the store, I think they were happy with what was going on. And like I said, over the next couple of weeks, as we get all of our Christmas merchandise out to the stores, it's going to be insane.
Oh,
we're just going to have to, got the Bloomington store remodeled a little bit. I shouldn't say remodeled, but we got a new front cases in there, and we're sitting around, and it was delivered late, and so everybody just worked their butts off last week, and so a few days off was
nice.
really, really
cool.
Nice.
Well, speaking of what's going on at Fantasy Gifts kind of thing, Megan, there's a contest.
There is. Well, we are doing a promo through one of our awesome lube companies. It is Intimate Organics, which is really cool. They do massage oils, shower gels, stimulants, tightening, stimulating cream, lubes, flavored lubes, really good warming flavored lubes. They are actually USDA certified organic.
That's awesome.
Yes, paraben free, vegan friendly, all that good stuff.
And they taste really good.
They do taste good. They taste
okay. The
really
flavored
good.
ones taste good. I mean, regular lube is it can be hit or miss on what the taste is.
Because a lot of it's like plant
based ingredients,
glycerin and glucose instead of the. And it's really cool too. They just came out with a silicone lube, a natural silicone, which is brand new. They haven't had that before, so really excited to give that one the old dry run or not dry run. Hopefully,
let me just clarify because I got really confused for a second, and then I realized you mean a lube that is safe to use on silicone.
No, it is a silicone lubricant.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, their water-based ones are always safe to use on silicone, but you don't want to use a silicone lube on a silicone product. It just gums everything up. There are some hybrids that they say that can be used on a silicone toy, but I just tend to, just for the longevity of a product, because if you've bought a silicone toy, it's going to cost a little bit more, and it just use a water-based lube.
We don't recommend. But through the month of December, actually, if people come in, if you buy 2 Intimate Organic products, you get a container of their energizing massage body balm.
Okay.
Which is really cool. And if you get 1 product, then you get a little foil of their pralines and cream flavored lubricant. So free gifts if you buy anything from the Intimate Organics through December. It's really nice because you can come in and get get a stimulant and a massage oil or a lubricant, and then look, here's your body balm to go with it, and you have got yourself an amazing gift set. And this we brought in actually for you. This is the chai. It's vanilla chai. That's what I like too. They have a lot of more adult flavors like the pralines and cream. And then macadamia nut instead of like just it's strawberry cherry. It tastes like piece of candy.
It's cherry cordial. There's a little extra zing to it versus just candy cherry flavor. In fact, I'll get to or am I getting that mixed up with Wicked?
Wicked is the new cherry cordial.
I'm getting it mixed up with Wicked. But by those, I get to taste all those coming up soon. I still haven't. I have to update some of our information.
You have to wait till you're over Thanksgiving before you do that.
You can only taste 2 or 3 lubes at a time, and then after that, your tongue is like, I can't taste anything anymore.
Yeah, but if you want to smell this is the vanilla chai.
Ooh, let me see.
My favorite of the line is actually the Sensual. It's called. It's a massage oil that is cocoa bean and guava berry or something. It tastes. I want to drink the bottle.
Really?
I won't because it's massage oil, but I want to. How does it smell?
It smells awesome.
Yeah.
It smells like chai, and I'm a big chai freak.
Oh, perfect.
So
we got the right flavor.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. So I get to take this home?
Oh, yeah, take it home.
Well, very cool. Guys, there's so much, and I think this time of year just brings out, crazy stuff. But there's just some wonderful things in the news today. And Colleen, I have to go to the first one, the graham cracker story. Would you like to set that up for us, please? Because it's funny.
Once again, I have to, thank my friends who find things and then send them to me. But I knew that that many of the folks that started out cereals were all health foods, and most of them were not real fond of sex. But I had no idea that the original graham cracker, which is very different than the modern graham cracker, was conceived as sort of a sexual damper.
Yeah.
The graham cracker was supposed to get rid of sexual urges.
Yeah.
I just read this and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, so now I can't even look at a s'more without giggling now. Because the Kellogg and Post and all those were big spas and all that. The manufacturer of the graham cracker was trying to come up with a food that would lessen sexual desire. And now it's the graham cracker.
So is it like smoking where you chew gum if you want to smoke? You like eat a nasty cracker so you are busy with your hands and aren't masturbating?
No, it literally was in the composition of it, and it was supposed to curb your sexual desire and become kind of a form of birth control too. But this guy, Sylvester Graham, which doesn't he just sound like a wet blanket? He also wanted people to have a vegetarian diet, a good sleep regimen, and make sure that you got on the path to God. And by doing so, eat these crackers and tame your carnal desires. He believed that lust could cause disease, like consumption, spinal problems, epilepsy, and insanity. And I will admit that I have been crazy about sex myself.
I guess it does cause some diseases.
Yeah. But I just
if you use the lambskin condoms.
Okay. Very well done, you. Yeah. Okay. This one tickled me, and this is a nod to my Hispanic friends and my upbringing in the middle of fabulous. Thriving Hispanic communities, but tamales. Do you guys like tamales at all?
Oh,
and those things I have never even attempted. Okay, they are so hard to make. What?
There's a place up in Northeast called Maya Cuisine, and they make amazing tamales. In fact, they catered a friend's wedding, and the food is spectacular. It's on Northeast Central somewhere. It's not like they're paying for this, but they're awesome.
Tamales are a big deal, and every year, like I remember. My business partner was Mexican, and his mom would do the big tamale making thing, and she would come in and bring me my stash for the year. And it's like, come near me and I will stab you with whatever I have available, be it the fork I'm eating these with or anything else I can find. Okay. So, people are very funny about them. Well, at LAX, only in LAX probably, the largest seizure of illegal contraband recently was not drug related. In fact, it was 450 pork tamales. A whole lot of porking going on. They were coming back from Mexico, and they had these fantastic, tamales that they were trying to smuggle home for their family. The problem is they didn't declare it, and they're saying the Customs and Border Protection seized them and allegedly destroyed them. I contend they went back, heated those bad boys up, and ate them.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Oh yeah, no, they were not going to waste that.
No,
but what I want to know is what would be the harm in declaring it? I mean, it's not a fresh food or vegetable. It's a cooked meat. It'd be like grabbing McDonald's and driving it through. What am I missing?
They quarantine animal products when flown. So I vote either by feet or by wheel, to get those suckers home. Yeah. $1,000 fine too. Not only did this poor bastard lose his 450 tamales, which can you imagine the work that went into that?
Yeah,
he had to pay $1,000.
Broken, hungry.
No kidding.
Poor guy.
That sucked. Okay. We're gonna go downhill again for a minute. Josh Duggar. 19 Idiots and Counting. First of all, I never have watched that show, 19 Kids and Counting, because I don't think the world needs anybody's kids. So that I was offended just there and the fact that one of them turned up to be, a complete criminal perv doesn't surprise me even in the least. But now he's got more problems than what he's already dealing with. He's got a porn star accusing her of assault during a paid sexual encounter. So apparently she was injured, and so she's got a lawsuit against Josh Duggar.
Yeah, that once again, a lot more stuff coming out of the woodwork, but to some extent, what makes this more news is the hypocrisy of it. I mean, we knew Charlie Sheen he was never, he never was pretending like you're not supposed to have sex with hookers.
Right.
He trumpeted it. But the hypocrisy of this, and what's really frustrating is that, his wife and his sisters and everything like that, these ladies, they were homeschooled. They have no education. They have nothing they can do. They have no skill set. They are trapped in what's going on there, unless they can, find someone to, a whole different community to help them become, educated.
Yeah.
But so when I see, it's the hypocrisy here that I think makes the news more so than anything, else. So people, because we're talking like, how is it someone's, we don't know whether this happened, but we do know that he paid sex to have with a hooker.
Right.
Yeah. So there's known things here.
Yeah.
People have seen him in this, stuff like that. There's, witnesses. So we know that part. So the hypocrisy right there is, that was pretty easy for TLC to yank that show because there was proof. Proof there.
Yeah. Well, I'm horribly jaded, but I automatically, when anybody makes their living on their moral compass, I'm immediately suspicious.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, do you have like a ball gag in your closet? I'm pretty sure you probably do. Okay.
I mean, I'm fine to have all the ball gags you want. Just don't lie about it.
Right.
Yeah, and preferably buy them from us, too.
Yes.
Right. While you're at it.
While you're at it, yeah. I mean, you don't have to share with the world, but you can't tell someone else they can't have a closet full of ball gags.
I agree. Here, here.
Yeah.
You have got to find a way, Megan. I'm hoping that Facebook doesn't block this. I don't think they will, but you never know. This is my headline: Give Piece of Ass a Chance. This is something else. Okay, so a Colombian magazine literally has on the cover a former FARC guerrilla, basically, and a former cop fighting the drug. Okay, so drug lord person in the drug life with a cop, and they both happen to be these insanely beautiful, hot women with bodies that people. It's unfair. I'm just saying. And the former drug involved person is naked, and the cop is wearing. Okay, technically she's wearing stuff, but forget it. She's got a bra panty set on that are completely see through. But they are entangled in quite. It doesn't even look lesbian-esque. It's just, are you serious? I mean, it's the cover of kind of like the Colombian version of Maxim.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And the cover shot is called Peace as Soho. And so it's supposed to harken back to the Yoko Ono and John Lennon picture from Give Peace a Chance, from that whole thing. But it's just really funny because they're trying to talk about this particular magazine claims to, well, they say they've never gotten into the political issues, but they just thought that this was such an amazing opportunity and they were able to pull it off. And look, we're talking about it up here. So
right. It worked.
The picture shot is really, it's worth seeing. So you got to check that one out. We got to try to put that up on Facebook. Colleen, wow. Airbnb. Let's talk about the potential trials and tribulations there. Do you remember what we're talking about here? A woman is suing someone that she rented her mansion in Ojai, California, to for having filmed a gay enema porn movie in her house. Now, when you read the headline, as most of us only do, you might say, well, what's her problem with what gay people do? The problem is that they featured her house without her permission. They lied completely about what was going to happen. They masqueraded as a woman going on a holiday saying she would be there with a photographer to document it, when in fact it was a porn film production, and they left litter throughout this place. And I'm talking biohazard kind of litter here.
Bodily fluid splattered everywhere.
They used
you
black
take
light.
A black light. Yeah, I read that and I'm like, clean up after yourself and don't make it unidentified. And mind you, what they did was horrific, but I can't believe that that they were idiots enough. See, that's the thing. It's the stupid.
Yeah,
it's the stupid. It's the greed and the stupidity and the idea that you're not. I mean, that they were entitled to this for some reason. You know, that you could just do whatever you wanted to someone else's property because, they've put it on this site. I mean, I could, no. I mean, I loves the people.
Yeah.
But I would never, I can't even imagine a scenario in which I would allow my personal property to be used in Airbnb. No.
What?
How did she find the movie?
Well, she didn't have to look far because when she came back to the mansion, she found it trashed with enema kits all over the floors, the beds, sexual devices scattered, the hot tub filled with brownish water, brown stained linens. So they took they took pictures and all that kind of stuff. And then, what else is going on? And through Google searching, and I'm sure some other investigative tactics, ta-da!
It wasn't like she was going through her new collection of gay enema films and was like, oh, hey, that's my house.
Oh, wait, look. Yeah, isn't that my couch?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's rude. Clean up after yourselves.
Indeed. I think.
And aren't there kinky B&B Airbnbs?
There are. In fact, there's one specifically for dominatrix, or rather BDSM studios that have those. But once again, that's a little dicey. I mean, what kind of equipment do you want to be reused, or would you want to use that's been used?
Right. I guess I would just say, I don't know, at least go to a B&B that's used to dealing in fluids.
The Dexter suite. Right. Let's do the Dexter suite. Sexy.
That would be kind of hot.
Oh
actually.
God, Megan,
I'm not
of
gonna
course.
lie.
You would. I love this one, Jingle Balls, and I'm sure that is going to be a stupid thing that I say throughout the entire month of December because it is the season. But guys, this is funny, and this is being done, so to speak, by a guy who does own a sex toy company. But this is ballscontest.com. And so this is for the most bodacious set of balls out there. It's a beauty contest for testicles.
Oh, good. We did have a vagina one not too long ago.
Same guy.
So
Same guy, right?
Oh,
He figured,
good.
yeah.
Megan knows how much I like that equal opportunity. Like if we get a novelty in and it's boob based, I want a penis based one. And if it's penis, I like where's the boob version? Although I mean, I have to admit, sometimes one or the other doesn't sell as well. So we have to make. At one point there is just business. But I try. We really desperately try.
You are an equal opportunity. Yes,
Yes.
I know that. Well, and this was the vulva paper that came out of the contest that he held to figure out which vagina was going to be the one that is out there on the market. And the hilarious thing was, the thing that gave him the idea was he noticed that the vaginas that got the most votes were ones that were photographed in doggy style positions. And then so he's looking at the pictures and then he sees the balls and he decided he didn't want to go with the whole Frankenbeans, just the balls, because he feels that those are like not, how do you say, they're neglected.
Yes,
They're
they're
underappreciated.
ignored. Yes,
Yeah.
underappreciated.
So
They need their they spotlight on the balls now.
What? I'm taking pictures in front of beautiful landscapes aren't enough for the balls.
those are the,
They're also getting a little demanding, I would say.
you think?
Just hang out there, buddies. Calm down.
The way that it works, though, this is damn funny. So you had to, there's about 150 entrants right now, but only 124 of them had the requisite 200 votes to get on the leaderboard. So voting goes all the way through Christmas. And the winner is going to get $5,000, $3,000 for second place, and $2,000 for third.
Wow.
So seriously, I mean, it's worth a shot for a couple grand.
It
Yeah.
really
Don't you think?
is. The reason I was poking at my phone a second ago
Yeah.
was the fact that when you mentioned the calendar in Columbia, it reminded me of a news story I saw yesterday, which is are you guys familiar with the Pirelli tire calendar?
Yes, they were talking about that today on TV.
That 2016 Pirelli calendar has taken a very big turn for 2016. Pretty much all the women are clothed. Pretty much all the women are over 40.
Yeah.
And it's women whose accomplishments deserve to be photographed. But the only person you've got Yoko Ono, Selma director Ava DuVay. There's an Iranian artist. I can't even pronounce her name. Catherine Kennedy, producer of Lincoln. Patti Smith. It's fascinating. They did get Amy Schumer in there. She's like the only one who's like wearing lingerie, a pair of panties, and some heels. And the joke there is she didn't get the memo. Yeah. But her tummy rolls are out there. I mean, these are fully clothed women. Serena Williams? Yeah, I think Serena, yeah. She's just wearing like shorts, but you don't see anything because it's her back and all the muscles. But I'm trying to figure out what Pirelli's going to do for 2017 because now I think they ought to go with guys, but. But it was just fascinating that they've changed it. That this cheesecake pinup calendar that's actually made the careers of several models and the photographers who've done it. That the person who did it just went in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And so and it's, this isn't, from what I understand, this isn't something you can buy. It's a gift that they've given to some of their like their clients, and so it's a prize possession. But what they're saying is that if you're a woman who's now doing well and you have a really expensive car and you pull into a Pirelli dealership and you see naked women on the wall, you're pulling your damned expensive car right the hell out.
There you go. Yeah.
So they're sort of recognizing the fact that the purchasing power of women here. And I just thought it was really, really fascinating. And one woman is photographed with her child, and you can only see part of her leg. Patti Smith is completely clothed, and it's a very different calendar.
That's really cool. That is a sign of the times. I applaud that, and I can't wait to see how they're going to outdo themselves. Mm-hmm. Right. So I'm wondering if we might see this in Fantasy Gift coming up. So if for the underwear sniffers out there, there's now bacon underwear and jock straps and panties And these are brought to you by J&D's. These are the people who brought you bacon salt, bacon pop microwave popcorn, bacon croutons, and baconaise. And yes, baconaise is exactly what you think it is. And if you really don't want to put it around your junk, and these things, by the way, will survive about 100 washes in a year, still smelling like bacon, they claim, which I wouldn't, well, maybe you would want to wash them with your other clothes.
Do you want to go for a walk around Lake Harriet with bacon-smelling underwear?
This is obviously special occasion underwear.
Because every dog on a walk would be like going after your junk.
Oh my God. I did see this. Was it this morning or last night or something like that? And I'm like, oh, jeez. I mean, I really thought the folks were, done with the bacon. I actually had a salad the other day that actually had too much bacon in it. And I didn't think that it was possible to have too much bacon. I was just going to say,
really?
I found it. It was just fascinating. I'm like, I think there's too much bacon in this. I started shoving it to the side.
Unbelievable.
It was very weird. I like bacon. I am fond of bacon. I eat a lot of bacon. But I am so bored with the bacon novelty.
And I do not want anyone's junk to smell like bacon.
No,
I don't see
no
that
bacon boobies.
that being appealing at all.
No bacon balls. No.
And we had
bacon balls.
the lube.
We had bacon lube, but
it's from this company too, the J&D's, and it was gross.
No, it was actually, I would have called it spam lube.
Yeah.
It smelled a lot more like spam.
Right. So if these underwear smell like the lube smells, no way.
I mean, I see the novelty quotient and stuff like that, but it's most of the novelties we have sold have been fairly practical. I mean, you've got your tiara that you can wear in your bachelorette party. You've got, edible candies. You've got a few things. You've got the booby frisbee that you can, actually play with. You get the bacon underwear. One, there's no way it's inexpensive. Not in a million years. It's going through there. And most Minnesotans are going to look right at this and go, I'm not paying that much for it. I mean, I don't know the price. I haven't looked at it, but I just know that a lot of things, when we look at them, once you put just your normal retail markup on it, you go, I wouldn't pay that.
Yeah.
And if we look at something and say, I don't know too many people that would pay for that either. There on a novelty, there's a very distinct cutoff on what people threshold on that.
Yeah, but rather just like, I don't know, wrap a guy. Here's my pro tip: wrap a guy's penis in bacon and then eat it off. Get the smell, get the taste, get the sexy food combo.
I suppose you could, get one of those cannoli tins and bake the bacon in a tube form.
Yeah,
and and do that. Oh my God, cooking
tips. Am I the only one here at the table that doesn't like actual pork with my porking? I mean, I don't know. Am I weird? Is that wrong? I don't know.
I'm just saying it might be better than some underwear.
Okay,
in the scale of
now
things.
I'm just trying to figure out what I could do with a cannoli thing and a bacon, and this is weird.
Okay, one last thing before we get into the killer story today. This one absolutely, you guys, I don't LOL very often at stuff, but I spit coffee all over almost my computer today. Luckily, I turned my head. This is a not safe for work photo of an errant chicken finger that came out. I literally fell over, and they call it the Buffalo Dickin finger. I mean, this thing has the whole thing. I mean, it's got the balls. This thing looks like a penis. It came out of the kitchen, and the server completely confiscated it, took a bunch of pictures, and now it's all over the internet. We've got to find a way to get this on the Great Northern Sex Cast Facebook page, because you guys, it's that funny, and it's absolutely to a T.
So is it one of those, it was coming out on that's a bad term, but it was arriving on a children's chicken nugget plate?
It was like an order of chicken fingers for somebody, or an appetizer.
Okay, so
type of thing. Yeah. It is absolutely. I sent you the link, Meg.
Yeah, the joy. It really is. The fact that when things come out penis shaped, people just love that.
It's hilarious.
Penis, penis shaped
boobs are fun, but not as funny.
Yeah, but penis shaped potatoes. mushrooms.
I saw that the other day. The Dictator.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. they just find the penis hilarious.
That's good stuff. That is super funny stuff. We got to get that picture up on the page if we possibly can get it through the filters.
Chicken dick. Well, yeah, chicken dick should be fine.
A chicken dick should be good because it does. It's on a plate. I mean, it's funny. I'm telling you right now. Okay, guys, we're going to kick one of our stories into next week because we're going to have a couple guests coming up here in December. I'm really excited. Ross Swayback of The Good Show is going to be in here, and he's on Channel 9, and he's got a lifestyle show. He's going to join us. He's a hoot. And actually, it might be hilarious to get him and Michael in the same room at the same time. I'm afraid of what could happen, but we're going to try to do that. Not sure when, but we'll let everybody know. But Colleen, you found something that I scanned it when you first sent it to me, but when I sat down to really read the article on Atlas Obscura about classical depravity, not only is it fascinating, it's funnier than. Did you read that whole thing?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my God! So we're gonna unpack this here. But I think the thing that slayed me the most about what we're gonna talk about is how. This, and I got to give serious props to Edmund Richardson, who wrote this article. It's almost a year old now, or it's a little over a year, I should say. Came out in 2014. The research that he did, he took actual excerpts of mostly British, explorers who came across these historic sites of utter and complete debauchery carved in stone, and the way that they wrote about it, because they were so appalled. Okay. I mean, I thought I was going to pee my pants. Did you laugh your ass off, Colleen?
And the way that, a lot of them were covered up in plaster. I mean, there was a lot of censorship that happened after this, because a lot of this was during the Victorian era and at the turn of the last century. I'm always fascinated that I now have to say the turn of the last century.
I know. It's weird, isn't it?
But what's fascinating is people go, that for some reason the fact that people enjoyed sex is supposedly a new thing. Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, how do we think we all got here? Lou. Yeah, well, a couple highlights too I thought were just bizarre. 275 BC in Alexandria, they used to do this thing where they would parade a 180-foot long gold-plated phallus through the streets of the city, flanked by elephants, a rhinoceros, a giraffe, and decorated with ribbons and a gold star. And I thought, that's pride.
Was it a blue ribbon?
It's Pride Parade, right?
And in Tokyo, every year, they actually have a yearly festival of, I don't know, a penis festival, I guess. I'm sure there's a Japanese word for it.
Prayer penises that the guys go in and pray. Yeah, okay.
No, I like the 180-foot long gold-plated. I'm like, that's a lot of gold. Tapped, with a little brush. And
a lot of gold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And where does one store the 180-foot set?
That's an outbuilding there.
Right, in the Goldcock warehouse, obviously.
Is that really what some of the other stuff was built for? So you could put the 180?
Right.
William Devane would piss himself if he saw that.
Why do you think there's the Colosseum?
Yeah, the Colosseum and where was this? This is Alexandria. But,
no.
But even so, I'd be like, where did they keep that? I mean, I always, my brain just keeps, when I read something, it just has more questions most of the time.
Oh, maybe they kept it at one really lucky lady's house.
Well, another one I thought was funny. This is, I believe, ancient Rome. But this is when if you didn't come dressed in drag and drink, like start drinking immediately, you would be mocked and forced to do so in a situation where everybody else wasn't also doing it. So I'm like, wow, peer pressure and binge drinking. It's a fraternity. I mean,
new.
The roots of this stuff is old.
Well, what's really weird too is that's for the Dionysus festival, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's it's religion, like our religious beliefs. Because it's a god.
Oh, I know.
So yeah, like the idea that our religious beliefs are you must be in drag and binge drinking at all times.
Yeah. Can't make this stuff up. So some of the places that are discussed in this article, and it's just so good, and we'll put a link to it so people can read it, because I recommend the whole entire thing. But I don't know, Via Jovis in Rome. Back in 27 AD. 27 AD. Okay. Well, obviously we've been fucking throughout the millennia, but Tiberius had this huge castle, basically, of debauchery, and he was isolated, and they would have all these different rooms. But he basically had people come and perform, all sorts of they called them sort of depraved, and I can't think of the word that I want, but weird sex acts. And they had libraries with diagrams in case somebody needed to go check a reference so they knew where to put their leg. So that's there. So that's a definite one. I got super tickled about. Colleen, you want to try to pronounce this thing?
Which one?
Thessaloniki brothel in Greece.
Oh, yeah. No, I can't pronounce this crap. I mean, okay, with my genetic heritage, Megan knows this. I just butcher. I mean, and the older I get, the more I'm going to butcher language. So I'm not even going to try.
Not going to help me out?
No, it'd be horrid.
They uncovered this in 1990. This is so cool. 1997. Okay, they didn't even know this was there. It was uncovered basically dating from the 2nd century BC. It was attached to a public bathhouse in the ancient agora marketplace era of the city. And it was completely covered up and by modern retail. And when they went to like remodel, they uncovered all this stuff. They had like a large phallus-shaped alabaster vase, jars with phallic mouths, sex aids, which they did put in a museum, but then they kind of put it back in the store. So it's like they had their own version of fantasy gifts way back then. But I mean, this brothel is just like unbelievable. And they didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, and there's great art too. Yeah. I mean, just the frescoes and the mosaics and all that, and a lot of this stuff. Well, this was just recently found, but some of the other stuff they just plastered over.
Yeah,
like 120 years ago. So they're like picking through stuff, going, "Hey, check this out."
Oh, never mind. Get the crew in here. And in the middle of this too, by way of background, they talked about in Greek that they had more words for love than we do in English, but they also have more words for prostitute. And the word pornography originates from the porne. So there you go. I thought that was kind of interesting. The sex curse.
Yeah. I was about to say the tablets just made me giggle.
I fell over laughing. I think one of the absolute funniest ones was "May your penis hurt when you make love." And these were found in the pyramids.
You weren't interested. A donkey shall violate him.
Yes, and a donkey shall violate his wife. Yeah,
he shall be cooked. I shall seize his neck like that of a goose. What does that mean?
Unclear.
I don't know. But there's cursed tablets with erotic images on them, and just. People were giving each other crap about sex since the moment they figured out they could give each other crap about sex.
I know. And there's a couple other highlights from this. And again, these were placed they're found around Cyprus near the Egyptian burial tombs. Here's another great quote that I loved. "May the thief neither piss nor shit nor speak nor sleep nor stay awake nor have well-being or health unless he bring what he has stolen to the temple of Mercury." I think that pretty much covers everything. Mm-hmm. That's the full spectrum of misery right there. And then, here's another one. There's different curses for divorcing or separating couples to cause a downturn in a pimp's business. Yeah. That's just vengeful. And here's another one. Bring her thigh close to his, her genital close to his in unending intercourse for all the time of life. So a never-ending fuck fest.
Curse?
Well, it could be after a while.
Maybe that's the never coming curse.
Oh, that would be bad. Yeah. Again, another tough one from India to pronounce: the temples of Khajuraho, and that's in India. This one is one of the ones where you've got quotes from the scholar who discovered this. Are you okay, Meg? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, a small village of 162 houses. And they had a lot of like monks there, basically. And so there's sculptures and really obscene things. And but this Brit, Alexander Cunningham, says it's extremely pleasing, actually. And they were wondering if this was possibly a sex ed manual in sculpture for the young men living there. Weird, huh?
Well, I kind of hope not, considering one of the pictures is two dudes and a horse.
Oh yeah.
So manual. It's like, here, kids, this is how you do it.
Gabinetto Segreto. That's in Naples, Italy. I cracked up here. Stone phalluses by the dozen, erotic mosaics, a brothel, phallic wind chimes, and a particularly detailed carving of a satyr having sex with a female goat. Her cloven feet pressed up against his chest as she gazes back at him with an expression rarely found on the face of a farm animal.
It is kind of sweet, actually.
Oh yeah. So, but here's your censorship, Colleen. King Francis of Naples. Do you have that part right there?
Oh, I think I was looking at Venus with a lovely ass.
Oh, okay, no worries. He came in 1819 with his wife and daughter, and basically gave an order to have everything covered up. And it remained completely covered up until it was recently opened to the public back in 2000. So from 1819 all the way until the year 2000, this place was covered up at the order of a guy who didn't want his kid to see stuff, but he wanted to take his friends on the tour.
Oh, wow.
See, hypocrisy.
No, I ran across the, like I said, my favorite here is there's a statue of a woman. I'm not sure where they've got it. What museum it's in, but it's called the Venus with the Lovely Ass, and she does have quite the lovely ass.
It's true title.
Oh yeah, that is a nice ass. Okay, that's good.
So no, we'll definitely have to put this up because I was just going through, and I'm like, it just like I said, it's always interesting that people just complain about kids these days or people or this movie is going to promote this or this. And I said, people have been doing this forever. I mean, there's a sculpture that is like 3,000 years old of someone doing a horse. I'm not saying you should do a horse. That's weird. There's no consent there from this horse and all that. But it's not as though and there's a Saturday. I mean, this is art. It's not. There's nothing new under the sun. There really isn't. I mean, we were discussing. Virtual reality goggles and sex earlier and stuff like that, but it's still going to be sex. It's just a different way of looking at it.
Oh, for sure.
Here was a sculpture. Now it's going to be a pair of goggles that you can. It's still sex. It's going to be. It's going to be interesting.
And now we have pony play, which I understand is highly popular in Fridley. With all the little tails that you guys saw.
Well, most of them are
foxtails. Yeah,
I beg your pardon.
Foxtails,
Foxy. Well, let's wrap this one up with a lot of people know of Babylon for its hanging gardens and possibly a David Gray song, but a lot of people I think forget that that's actually in Iraq, which is weird. But you completely displace that. You see it as its own little kind of entity. Did you guys hear about the famous ancient custom of Babylon, which again was written about by a Brit, which you have to read about in this article because it's damn so funny. But basically, women had to go to the temple there of Babylon, and they had to sit there, and they weren't allowed to return home until a stranger basically throws a silver coin on her, chooses her, takes her home, and screws her. Okay, and so it's a goddess thing, tribute, and everybody supposedly have to do this. There's a line in here that discusses the fact that a lot of the tall and beautiful women, it was pretty fast scenario for them, but some women had to stay for 3 or 4 years because not unlike dodgeball when you're in 3rd grade, they kept getting passed over.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's depressing on a few levels.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, in 331, Alexander the Great pretty much blasted the place apart, and the whole thing kind of fell apart from there. But anyway, yeah. So it's a great article. We can put the link, I believe, up to that. It's one of the best ones. So, guys, we're into the Christmas season. Any Great Northern Sexcast December/holiday thoughts to part with today?
Let's see.
'Tis the season to what?
'Tis the season to. I don't know. No, and just to. I mean. I'm not a real big churchgoer, but I was raised in and stuff like that. But I do find that I do enjoy spending time with the friends and the family this time of year. There's something about that, and whether or not you're buying a gift from Fantasy Gifts or you're doing something like that, just put a little thought into it. Think about the person you're giving it to. Yes, it'd be very easy for me to go out and buy things I would like them to have or I would like to have. But, a little thought into, into the gift giving process. Because the reason I say this is because it makes the return process so
spoken like a true retail maven. Oh my God.
It makes the return process so much easier. Easier is that it is the time where even though you were absolutely blasted with everything commercial that there is, that it is the time to think about the others. And what you're going on, and I'm sure that there's plenty of and to think about that in April too. That's not to get serious here, but that's when the food shelves run out of stuff, and that's when someone who maybe just moved in the state doesn't realize they need a coat.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff going on there too. So if you're thinking about it now, try and remember that the next 364 days of the year.
That's a good one. Meg?
I guess have a naughty Christmas.
I love it. What?
Don't be afraid to get with some conversations, of course, and keeping in mind the return policy at any adult place. Don't be afraid, sure, you'll see your wife a vacuum, or you could get her, a rechargeable sex toy. Guess which one you're going to have more fun with her using. Just going to say.
I think that's
and I even parties with friends. We put on the Facebook page a great way to fold a napkin into a beautiful penis. So I have a dinner party with some cocktails and some penis napkins, and they have naughty white elephants.
I love that. That almost got me to spew my coffee. I loved the penis folding napkins. So that was just made me giggle to no end.
I am going to insist on setting the adult table at my sister's on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
I know what I'm doing now. Well, guys, happy after Thanksgiving show. A lot of guests coming up here in December. Find us on the Great Northern Sex Cast on Facebook. I guarantee you the Buffalo Dick and Finger will make an appearance, among so much more. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.